Okay, and welcome back. We're doing a review today on this lawnmower. This is from a company that I've not done a review for yet. This would be the first review for Litheli, I believe is how you pronounce it. And as you can see, it's a lawnmower. And I'm sure the first thing that you're gravitating towards, if you know electric lawnmowers, is that it's saying 20 volt. And that's actually the first thing that I looked at when I saw it. Is that 20 volts, of course, for a lawnmower wouldn't be enough. But it's all relative, because if you pan over, your average push mower is about 21 inches. This one is a 13. So hard to grasp the size of the box, but this lawnmower is very small. And of course, the goal would be to be very maneuverable, very easy to handle, and very light. I think it's only barely over 20 pounds. And so therefore, 20 volts might be enough, might be plenty. We're gonna find out today. So the first thing we gotta do is open the box. Let's see what's in there. Interesting, a box in a box. So let's take this box out of this box and then see what's in that box. Okay, so opening up the box inside the box, we get to get our first look at it. Better picture on the side. Proportionately, it looks normal, but it's small. Taking a look inside the box, and I gotta tell you, it definitely has that new electric lawnmower smell, which is a good smell. I kind of like it. And there is a good look at how it is packed. But we got to pull it all out of there to see what's happening. It looks like it's regular folding handle. Okay, so here's our first real look at it. It looks like it's got your regular fold up and lock in place handles there. You know, you just fold them up and then pull that lever and it locks it in place. And then you got this second half of it that must lock into the top. And we'll do that in a second. But I just want to take a look at the pieces here. Now the bagger, of course, this is the smallest lawnmower I've ever seen. And so naturally this is the smallest bagger attachment I've ever seen. Look at it next to the wheel there. It is very small. I don't know what the capacity is. Hopefully I'm putting that up on the screen. But let's fold the handle up and put this together. Very little assembly. And oh yeah, and the battery and the owner's manual. Haven't located the charger yet, but it must be in there. So let's put it together. Okay, so here is a basic look at how these lock into place. Hopefully I can show this. There is a storm coming, so that's what you're hearing out there. So we'll have to take a little pause before we even demonstrate this, but see there, you pull this lever and it squeezes into those teeth there. And you got to look under the cover because there is some mounting hardware in there, mounting hardware bag, which is probably the clips for attaching the second half of the handle. Let me confirm that in a second. Although it looks like we are going to have to stop for a second for the storm. Okay, so here is a look at the battery. We are going to try to charge it for the first time. I think I mentioned that there is no charger in the box, and it appears as though you just charge it with USB through the provided cable. So on the back of the battery, you've got USB-C on one side and regular USB out on the other side. And you just plug in the USB-C on the one side, and then you find a USB jack somewhere. Here's one. And then you take your USB end and just plug it in. And look for something to be happening. Maybe on the other side. Yep, there we go. Okay. So that's all there is to it. So it looks like we got 75% charge from the factory, and we just gotta wait for that final 25%, and we'll see how long that takes. Neat. All right, so here we go. So I finally looked up in the book, and as it turns out, those lights stand for different stages, each one about 25% of the battery. So fortunately, it came 75% charged. If you remember, we had 3 lights on and 1 flashing. That meant about 75% charged. And I'm glad it did. It's now fully charged. But if you remember when I plugged in, it has been about an hour and a half to charge that last 25%, which if you calculate that all out, it's about 5 or 6 hours to charge this thing. Okay, so this really puts it in perspective. This is your regular 21-inch mower on the left. If you can remember when I got this 17-inch mower a couple years ago, and then all the way down to your 13-inch mower. It is a small little thing. I think it was about 24 pounds is what they say. Very, very light. That handle can actually absolutely be used. Watch this. So, no question about it. It's light. So anyway, let's put the battery in for the first time ever. I think I showed in here already. It's gonna be a little tricky to film. Okay, there we go. So only one side, I know it looks like it holds 2 batteries, but this side actually says it's just a storage compartment. And then this side holds the battery. Make sure your terminals are on the right side. Stick it in there. And push it down, I'm sure. Click. And then you're good. So let's start it. Okay, and let's come up here and start it for the first time. The way you start it is you press the button first, and then you pull back the safety. And there it goes. Release the safety, and it turns off. Let's look at the blade. There you go. There is your average 13-inch blade. Wow. I'm telling you, this thing is small. And, you know, small is good. Small can be good because really, really, really tight areas where you don't want to be spraying grass around all over the place, like with a weed whacker, is exactly what this would be for. It would all go into the bag or be mulched back into the grass. Really anxious to try this, so let's take it to the yard and give it a go. Okay, here we are on location. We're about to mow this area right here. This is a good example to demonstrate the type of thing that it's so skinny that you would normally do it with like a weed whacker, or as a string trimmer is what they call it. But when you're using a string trimmer, you would throw grass either this way or this way into this planter and mess it all up. It'd be nice to have a little mower that you can run right down the middle that either mulches or bags. And that's what we're going to demonstrate right now, because that's what this does. I had forgotten to mention that it has 2 options. It bags or mulches. When you take the bag off, this door closes and lets it mulch. But this particular mower does not have a side chute, so you cannot do a side discharge. And I also wanted to mention the hardware that was in the bag were these little handles. They're just exactly like these handles. They came on there, but to attach the upper part of the handle, you have to install these yourself, which is no problem. And then they just lock into position here. There. Like that. There. And it's got it. So I will set up the camera and we'll mow through here. I have the mower set up as high as it goes, which is, I forget The range on it, I will have it on the screen right now, but I have it up as high as it goes. One lever adjusts the whole mower. See there? The one lever adjusts the whole mower up, all four wheels at one time. And then I'm just locking it up in the 5th position as high as it goes, which technically is not high enough for this type of grass. I will also be demonstrating on that grass over there, which is a little lower. But the blade itself, get it at exactly this angle here, because you can see that the blade is recessed to the side of the deck about 1/4 of an inch. So it's actually cutting, if you have it over on the grass, it's actually cutting up a little higher. But you can see this is going to be too low. But we'll find out in a second. Okay, so for regular Florida St. Augustine grass, I normally cut this at 4 1/4 inches. So it looks like it's cutting low because it is cutting lower than I normally would. And this is really not what I'm supposed to be doing here, but it's okay for this example. So we will be switching over to that yard over there, which is definitely cut down lower, to demonstrate this better. But I want to show inside the bag, because we were bagging all that. Let's see what we got there. Definitely bags. It's not a big bagger, but it does work. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so now we're in a yard that's maintained lower. This should be more perfect for it. As you can see there, I've removed the bagger, which has changed it into mulching mode. And we're going to see how well it mulches. And we're also going to be able to see how much power it's got. As you remember over there when we were bagging, it would increase its RPMs as it went under load. And right here it's going to go under an even greater load because it's hard to mulch. And we'll see how much power it's got. Yeah, you know, that's not bad considering how thick this type of grass is. I know it's only 20 volts, but it's also only 13 inches. So it was mulching just fine. Let's move into the backyard where I think there's some thicker areas and larger areas. So we'll see how it does in a larger area. Alrighty, so as you can probably hear that it is having a little bit of trouble with this, but keep in mind, that's why I'm going to go over here. I want to show you what kind of grass this is. This is very thick grass and it's mulching. So it's a challenge for it. But it is doing it. And I just want to mention that I picked this area because this would represent like somebody who's got a small patch of grass at like a condominium or a duplex where they live, and this is all they would have to maintain. This would be the kind of lawnmower you would want because it's small, doesn't take up a lot of space, and it is capable of doing it. So far, I mean, the battery doesn't seem to be slowing down. I'll continue to mow until it dies, but I want to check out this section over here because that represents another tight area. Okay, so it mowed this whole area. Let me walk over here to show everything that it mowed. It had those two sections in the front yard, the area where it was bagging, and then the area where I first did the mulching. And it did these areas over here, and I think that an area about this big is all it's really recommended for. You wouldn't want to take it and mow the whole yard with it. It's not for that. It's for very, very small areas. And yeah, as much as it bogged down in this really thick stuff, consider that we were mulching, it wouldn't have done it quite so bad if it were bagging, because all the clippings get stuck under the deck and put a lot of resistance on the blade. But it did about as good as I thought it was going to do, honestly, being a 20 volt. Pretty good. Look how small those rows are. It's a handy little thing. It is just for small areas or touch-up, but it does do like it says, and that is what it's for. It's basically a string trimmer that, well, it's not. It's basically on the level of string trimmer that bags, but it has a full metal blade under there, and it is technically a lawn mower, and it's kind of neat, really. So anyway, I'll have the information down there in the description for the website and the Amazon link to go get one if you're interested. It's I'm keeping it totally. I'm going to keep it in the truck probably because it folds up. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.